Hi everyone, I want to take a quick second to walk you through a little bit of an algebra review that's necessary for some of the problems you're encountering in this section. On the left here, I have a triangle that I've created, a right triangle, where one of the sides is not just a simple variable, it's what we call a binomial, which is a combination of a variable and a constant. There's two terms in here, x and plus 8. When we include this in the Pythagorean theorem, we need to be careful to square the whole side, all of x plus 8. And if you remember your algebra rules and properties well enough, you'll recall that squaring means times itself. So we have that entire x plus 8 times the entirety of itself. And this is where we need to be careful to distribute both the 8 to both sides, creating 8x and 64. But we also need to distribute the x to both terms in the other one, creating x squared plus 8x. Some of you might know this as foiling. We can then combine the 8x's together into 16x. Students often make the mistake of simply thinking that they can distribute a squared and just say the first term is squared and the last term is squared. That would create us x squared plus 64, which would be missing this whole central term, which is a very important part of squaring these values. So be very careful to get the entire binomial squared when we FOIL that out. Then I can go ahead, I've combined the 25 and the 64. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this quadratic equation and I need to solve it. How do we solve quadratic equations? We can go ahead and graph this. We could graph y equals x squared plus 16x plus 89, and we could graph y equals 169 and see where they intersect. You will notice that they will intersect at x equals negative 20 and x equals 4. The y values in both cases will be 169. We'll get the same answer. Or algebraically, what we need to do is set this equal to 0 so we can use the 0 multiplication property. What we're going to do is we're going to take this trinomial, this quadratic trinomial here, and we need to factor it. We need to think of the two numbers that multiply together to make a negative 80 and add together to make 16. With a little trial and error, we'll come up with positive 20 and negative 4. Multiply to make negative 80 when I FOIL this back out. And then that central term comes from plus 20x minus 4x, which simplifies to 16x. Once I've factored, now I can use each factor and say, okay, well, if there's two things being multiplied here, one of them must be 0 to equal 0. If this one equals 0, x equals 20. If this one equals 0, x equals 4. If I take negative 20 and plug it back into x plus 8, I would get negative 16, and that does not make sense for a side length in a triangle, which leaves our only possible answer as x equals 4. And sure enough, when I plug that back in, I get 4 plus 8 is 12, and this gives us a 5, 12, 13 triangle, which is a known Pythagorean triple. So two elements here that you need to be careful of algebraically. Make sure that you're squaring the whole side and multiplying that out correctly, and then that you're handling the quadratic equation correctly as well. Hope this helps.